Right now, across America, an entire generation is quietly abandoning the idea of trying harder in relationships, in careers, in life. They are not giving up. They are upgrading their operating system. And if you stay with this video until the very end, you will understand a shift in thinking so fundamental that it will change the way you enter every room, every conversation, and every opportunity from this moment forward. The women who consistently get what they want are not the loudest, the most persistent, or the most accommodating. They are simply playing by a completely different set of internal rules. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you accept. That is the entire thesis, and everything that follows is just the architecture beneath it. Most women, even the self-aware ones, even the ones actively working on themselves, are still operating from what could be called a trying mindset. They try to make things work. They try to be chosen. They try to prove their value. They stay longer than they should, give more than they get, and reshape themselves to fit situations that were never designed for them. From the outside, this looks like dedication. From a psychological standpoint, it is a signal. It tells your nervous system, and everyone around you, that you are not fully certain you deserve better. And the world reads that signal accurately, even when no one says it out loud. When effort is the primary energy you are operating from, you are broadcasting scarcity. You are communicating that the outcome feels uncertain, that you are not sure it is available to you without extraordinary sacrifice. That energy seeps into everything. It seeps into how long you stay, what you tolerate, how you explain yourself, and what you quietly allow to become normal. Nothing about that energy attracts abundance. It attracts more situations that require the same level of exhausting effort. The clearest way to understand the difference is through an analogy most people have lived personally. Think about the difference between walking into a discount clearance section and walking into a curated boutique. In the clearance bin, you dig. You compromise. You pick up something that is almost right and convince yourself it will work because it is available and it is cheap and it is already in your hands. You have probably done this with clothes. Most people have done it with people, with jobs, with entire chapters of their lives. In a boutique, nothing is accidental. Everything is chosen deliberately. There is no need to justify the selection because the standard itself does the filtering. The women who consistently attract what they want have internalized the boutique model as their default psychology. They are not arrogant. They are not cold. They are simply oriented around a different question. Instead of asking, "How do I make this work?" their mind naturally moves toward, "Does this meet my standard?" That single shift in framing changes the entire dynamic of how life responds to them. One of the most underestimated psychological differences is tolerance. Specifically, the tolerance for things that do not belong in your life. Women who consistently get what they want have a genuinely low threshold for inconsistency, disrespect, confusion, and anything that requires them to shrink in order to survive the relationship. This is not rigidity. It is clarity. And clarity is one of the most attractive forces a human being can carry. They do not sit in extended negotiations with themselves about whether to stay. They observe a pattern, they recognize it for what it is, and they act. Quietly. Without drama. Without a farewell speech. They simply stop participating in dynamics that do not serve the highest version of who they are becoming. This is what most people call confidence from the outside. From the inside, it is just a refusal to normalize what they know is wrong. Here is what happens when you repeatedly accept what you know does not fit. Your nervous system does not register it as a temporary compromise. It registers it as a new baseline. And once something becomes your baseline, your brain stops flagging it as a problem. The tolerance creeps upward. The standard drifts downward. What once felt like a red flag gradually starts to feel like just the way things are. That is not bad luck. That is conditioning. And it can be reversed, but only once you see it clearly. Most people believe that effort creates leverage. They believe that if they give more, stay longer, try harder, the situation will eventually transform into what they need it to be. It will not. Effort does not create leverage. Standards create leverage. The moment you stop trying to fit yourself into situations that require your compromise and start filtering for situations that require your presence, the entire dynamic shifts. You are no longer chasing. You are selecting. In the current dating landscape, this psychology matters more than it ever has before. Research consistently shows that the women who report the highest satisfaction in their relationships are not the ones who tried the hardest to make it work. They are the ones who were most willing to walk away from what did not align. They dated with intention. They made decisions from clarity rather than from anxiety. They were able to sit with discomfort without letting that discomfort become the reason they settled. The same principle applies everywhere outside of relationships. In a career, the woman operating from a standard does not take every opportunity because it is available. She evaluates whether it elevates the trajectory she has already committed to. In friendships, she does not maintain connections out of obligation or guilt. She maintains them because those people reflect and amplify who she genuinely is. The filter is consistent across every domain of life, because the psychological position is not situational. It is a way of moving through the world. There is one more layer that rarely gets addressed directly. Women who consistently achieve what they want share a deep and often unspoken belief that good outcomes are available to them. Not as hope, not as positive thinking, but as an expectation so embedded in their nervous system that it functions like gravity. They do not walk into opportunities braced for disappointment. They walk in already calibrated to receive. And because the brain is fundamentally a prediction machine, it begins to organize their perception and their behavior around that expectation. Opportunities they would have previously overlooked become visible. Exits from situations that no longer serve them feel natural rather than catastrophic. This is not mysticism. It is neuroscience applied to self-image. What you expect with certainty, your brain builds a world around. The shift that actually changes everything is not about becoming someone new. It is about removing the internal limitations you have accepted as true for so long that they feel like facts. The belief that you have to earn your place. The belief that wanting more is selfish. The belief that if you do not try hard enough, good things will simply not arrive. None of those are facts. They are habits. And habits can be replaced with something far more powerful. A standard that you hold without apology and without explanation. When you stop tolerating what does not belong in your life, life recalibrates. Not because the universe is magical, but because people, opportunities, and circumstances respond to the signals you consistently emit. Lower the standard, and the world fills that space accordingly. Raise it, and what does not belong quietly falls away, while what does belong begins to find its way toward you with far less friction than you expected. You do not need to become a different person to get a different result. You need to become completely unavailable to the results you no longer want. That unavailability is not a strategy. It is a declaration. A declaration about who you are and what you are here to build. The women who have everything they want are not lucky. They are simply the ones who decided, at some point, to stop accepting anything less than what they actually came here for.